Good evening and welcome to our Ordinary Council meeting for the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder for tonight, the 15th of December 2025. I open up this evening's meeting at 7 p.m, and on behalf of the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners on the land in which we meet today. I'd also like to pay my respects to elders past and present. May I ask you to please stand as Pastor Kim Hughes comes forward from C3 Church to deliver a prayer this evening. And for those who are in the chamber tonight, we also take the opportunity to reflect on what has been a big 24 hours for Australia, and our thoughts are with those who have been affected in Bondi.
Heavenly Father, just thank you for this time tonight, God. I just pray just with a heart of gratitude as we come together, just in this beautiful city that we have. God, I just thank you for the councillors that are here. God, I just pray a blessing over them, over the staff, over their families. God, I thank you for wisdom as they make decisions on behalf of our city and for our city. God, I just pray right now that you would be here amongst each and every one of them. God, I just pray peace, joy, and blessing over each of them and their families for this season. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Thanks. Thank you, folks. Please be seated. I'll now read the disclaimer for those who are present this evening and also for those who are online. Please note that our meeting is being recorded and streamed live on Council's website in accordance with our city's public participation in Council meeting policy, which can be viewed on Council's website. All reasonable care is taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in the public gallery, it is assumed your consent is given if your image is broadcast. The recommendations contained in this agenda are officers' recommendations only and should not be acted upon until Council has resolved to adopt those recommendations. The resolutions of Council should be confirmed by perusing the minutes of the Council meeting which these recommendations were considered. Members of the public should also note that they act at their own risk if they enact any resolution prior to receiving official written notification of Council's decision. Our record for attendance this evening. The Deputy Mayor is here in a great green. Councillor Della, good evening to you. Councillor Johnson, hello. Greetings, Councillor O'Donnell. Greetings. Hello, Councillor Viskovich. Good evening, Councillor House. Councillor Walker-Dunstan, hello to you. Also joining us tonight is our Acting Chief Executive Officer, Francis Liston. Hello, Francis. Our Acting Director of Advocacy and Strategy in Damara Lanneberg is here tonight. Our Director of City and Community is Adam Streeling, who's here tonight. Hello, Adam. Cassandra Yeager is the Director of Corporate and Commercial. Hello, Cass. And our Director of Engineering is Louis Camporelli. We're also joined by members of our governance team in Susie and Gemma, and we welcome Sandeep as well, who's from our IT systems. We have 5 members in the gallery this evening as visitors. We have 1 member of the press. We have an apology from Councillor Bodica this evening. We wish Councillor Bodica all the best, not feeling too well this evening. No apologies from staff. There is leave of absence that has been approved for the Director of Advocacy and Strategy, Mayor Hicks, and also the Chief Executive Officer, Andrew Bryan. There's no response to previous public questions taken on notice. There is public access this evening and public question time. First of all, Paula Belusi, I'd like to invite you forward, Ms Belusi, to the podium, please. You have 3 minutes on a matter to address to Council this evening. Please go ahead. I'll just get the Director of Engineering to just push your microphone on for you.
Thank you. I'm here today because the City has refused to take any action regarding a retaining wall at 43 Paddington Drive. I've spent several $1,000s obtaining an independent engineering report to get a resolution on this matter. So the report confirms that the City has approved a retaining wall that does not comply with the regulation of no stormwater is to be discharged onto adjoining property. The approved plan has weep holes, allowing for water egress, and on the documents provided by the Council, it actually says on the plans in red, no stormwater to be discharged to adjoining property. Despite this, the City approved the wall in 2007, and this is clearly a breach of the City's own development condition and not a neighbourhood dispute. So I first raised this issue with both the neighbour and the city in 2012, well within any reasonable time limits. At that time, the then Mayor attended my property with the neighbour, his daughter, and told me that nothing could be done about the retaining wall, and the only option was to control the watering. So as a young homeowner, I accepted that advice. I didn't have the means to pay for an engineering report, and I naturally assumed the Mayor's guidance would be reliable. The City, however, had the approved plans on file and could easily have identified that the wall was designed in a way that would allow water to discharge into the adjoining property. Yet this was never mentioned or investigated further. So I pursued this matter through various avenues and received two very different responses from the Council. In July 2025, Paul Lees acknowledged that I first raised concerns in 2012. He acknowledged the engineering report and that water is seeping through the wall, and offers explanations such as the age of the wall and shading to prevent evaporation. The Council was unwilling to action despite the report confirming a planning compliance failure. So the drainage issue was from day one. In September 2025, Andrew Bryan received a letter from him, and the City adopted an entirely new position, saying that the matter is a dispute between neighbours, dismissing the issue altogether and reframing it as a private matter, ignoring the development conditions that the City itself imposes. So my question is therefore very simple. Does the City consider the current situation where stormwater from the approved retaining wall discharges onto my land to be compliant with the City's development approval conditions? And if so, on what statutory basis? Thank you for your time. I'm not here to create conflict, but just to seek a straightforward answer about where the City sits and whether it enforces its own development conditions when they are breached.
Thank you, Ms. Belusi. I was just confirming with the acting CEO that would be happy to meet with you in regards to that matter. Hopefully that is a pathway that you'd like to continue with.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for addressing us tonight. Councillors, the next item on our agenda is public question time. We welcome Ms. Caroline Biggs. Ms. Biggs, if you'd like to come forward, please, who has 3 questions for us this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The EPA sent a notice to the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder in July. Was the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder directed by the regulator to collect odour data through self-monitoring systems installed around the city? And if so, where are the monitoring stations located, and will the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder be transparent with data collection?
Thank you, Ms. Biggs. I'll answer that for you. No, the Environmental Protection Notice issued in July did not require the City to install odour monitoring stations around the City. However, at our own initiative, we have installed 5 fixed odour monitoring stations around the South Boulder wastewater treatment plant, and we're also using 2 portable hydrogen sulphide monitors to investigate odour complaints. The monitoring data is collected daily, with additional monitoring undertaken during odour call-outs. The City shares that relevant data with the Department of Water and Environmental Regulation and is open and transparent with its approach to the odour monitoring.
I have questions from your response, but I'm not allowed to answer them just yet, am I?
That's fine. We can touch base on that afterwards if you like.
Yes.
Yep, of course.
So the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder are proposing to build 2 lagoons at the South Boulder wastewater treatment plant. Is this their idea to reduce odours? We, the community, object to the proposals.
The proposed 2 additional lagoons that are part of the broader program to improve wastewater treatment performance and water quality at the treatment plant. The improved treatment performance reduces the likelihood of conditions that cause odour. The lagoons are not a standalone measure but are part of an integrated solution to stabilise treatment processes and to support long-term odour reduction.
For 2 years and many more, Kalgoorlie Boulder has endured the odours. The residents have made repeated formal complaints about sewerage odours. However, the City has not mitigated these health and environmental hazards. Why didn't the wastewater treatment plant receive full attention 2 years ago, 1 year ago, this year, despite complaints from the community?
Thank you for your question. And the City has taken significant action over the past several years to address wastewater treatment performance and odour issues. There were major pond upgrades completed in 2021 and also 2022, including relining and installing internal baffles to improve the treatment efficiency. A major inlet works and screening upgrade is now in the final stages of commissioning, which will screen all incoming wastewater and remove debris that contributes to odour. And the installation of running traps in targeted sewer catchments with high odour complaint rates to prevent odorous gases escaping the sewer network. I also note that you've said the last couple of years, from my recollection, odour issues have been within the city for close to 20.
Yes, that's why I sort of re-questioned what I'd written there. In actual fact, yes.
Thank you. With your further questions to those tonight, I'm happy to talk to you with those at a later time as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillors, that is the only two items we have for public question and public access tonight. And I thank our community members for bringing their community issues to a meeting. It's not always easy to get up and stand up, but I appreciate the opportunity for those people to come forward and to be on the microphone and also on our streaming. Just on a note, I've just been informed that the streaming's not working at the moment. However, we are taking a good old-fashioned dictaphone recording of tonight's meeting as well. Just confirming that that's still going. No petitions, deputations and presentations tonight. I have several notions of interest, however. Councillors, is there anyone else that wishes to declare an interest before I read those out? No. I have interest in a financial interest for 8.2, no interest affecting impartiality. However, the financial interest under 8.2 is Councillor Kirsty Della has a financial interest in item 1541. That's the KBCCI activation of Kalgoorlie Boulder Central Business District because she's a retailer on Hannon Street. Councillor Wayne Johnson has a financial interest in item 1551, the commercial lease renewal airport BHP Nickel West Proprietary Limited. 1552, the commercial lease airport Viva Energy Aviation Proprietary Limited, and 1555, licence renewal airport Worldly Investments Avis because of an existing commercial lease with the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder at the airport. Just Councillor Johnson confirming I've captured all that for you. Yep, thank you. I have a notation of interest here, a financial from Councillor Viskovich in regards to item 1541, that is the KBCCI MOU, as I have a shop or business on Hannon Street, and also a financial interest in 15.5.7, which is the MT Dance waiver. I pay a membership and the business, sorry, I can't read your writing there. I pay a membership to the business MT Dance have engaged with. Correct? Thank you. And one more financial interest this evening from the Deputy Mayor in regards to 1553, the commercial lease retail for Shop 7272 Market Arcade on Hannon Street for Ma Wang Family Support Services. He is employed by a competitor of the business. And also for 1557, the MT Dance fee waiver request on page 125. It's a financial interest as his daughter's involvement in cheer and dance and partner's position. Just confirming there's no more interests this evening, councillors. Thank you. With no proximity interest received. Councillors, are there any applications for leave of absence? No. Councillors, 9.2 is the procedural motion to suspend section 9.1 of the Standing Orders Local Law, which requires members of council to rise to speak be suspended. Councillor Della moving the procedural motion. Seconder, Councillor Johnson. No dissent, councillors. Carried 8-0. Point 10, the announcements by the person presiding without discussion presented on screen for you. No? I can read them for you if you like. I'll be here quite a while. Here we go. Attended the Seniors Focus Group meeting to meet the new members on the 17th of November. Attended the City Activation Working Group on the 18th of November. Attended the OWLS meeting on the 20th of November. And we had the Goldfields Esperance Regional Road Group meeting further that week. Also had a GV Rock meeting for the State Council agenda on the 24th of November. continued with various different meetings with Lloyd Clark from M Group regarding the Amara estate, met with Ali Kent and PTAC in regards to the discussions about Boulder Camp. That's a state government election commitment from a few years ago now, which is still underway. Also attended the Regional Capitals AGM. I met with the Chinese Consul General, as well as George Araj, who is now the chair of the ARAC. Met with Matt O'Neill, who's the Chief Operating Officer. We discussed Scott Barber's departure from Evolution Mining and what's ahead for Mungari. We had the Audit and Risk Improvement Training on the 11th of December, and also an online meeting for Regional Capitals Australia, WA, on the 12th of December. I attended the Kids on Dugan Childcare Centre open morning, attended Menshed's morning tea, a one-day leadership forum in health alongside Councillor Della and also Kate Collins, the Superintendent of Police. Attended the events for Paddington Gold's 40th anniversary. Attended a working lunch with David Engwich, like sandwich, as he described it, from Creative Communities International. Attended the International Day of People with Disabilities event, the unveiling of the Victor Watts headstone. Also note that Councillor Walker Dunstan attended that one as well. Councillors, great attendance at the annual Seniors Christmas lunch. I think that's one of our more lovely moments of the year. Further to that, the Miners Memorial event with the Deputy Mayor and Councillor Della, St Barbara's Parade, attended training last week for mayors and presidents, and also opened the Golden Breadcrumbs art exhibition, and the media notes are there as well. Councillors, 11 is the confirmation of minutes from the ordinary meeting of council that was on the 17th of November. Do we have a mover for the minutes? Councillor Viskovich, seconded Councillor Della. Any discussion? No dissent, councillors? Carried 8-0. Just confirming that was Councillor Viskovich moving, seconded Councillor Della. Thank you. There's no motions of which previous notice have been given, and there's no urgent business approved by the person presiding or by decision. Councillors, under item 14, we have the reports of our Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee. There is one item out of all of those 12 which will be pulled from an en bloc. Is there anyone else that wishes to raise anything out of those items? No, so the only item to pull is item 14.1.4, which is the annual financial report. Councillor Viskovich.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just wanted to ask a question about 14.1.7 and 14.1.11, if I could, please.
14.1.7 and 14.1.11. The overdue debtors report,
Yes.
which is 14.1.11, and
Compliance
also
calendar.
the compliance calendar. You wish to ask a question?
If I could, please.
What is your question?
With the compliance calendar, I was wondering if the report is required for compliance or regulatory purposes.
Acting CEO?
No, that was provided for information of council.
Second.
Supplementary, so you want to go to 14.1?
No, so
11,
still
still on that?
14.1.7.
Yep.
It may be worth noting to any members of the public reading that report that the 0% is not necessarily an item that's not complete.
Yep. Let's pull that then. 14.1.7, we can pull that out.
Thank you.
Your concerns... It is a confidential attachment, by the way, so my apologies. The attachment was confidential for the compliance calendar.
I will pull my question back.
Sure. 14, so did you still want to pull that? Well, you're going to be talking about it confidential in public, so...
Can't do that one.
14.1.11 was the overdue debtors report, noting the two were confidential attachments as well.
So I was asking in relation to a debtor number, not the name. Can I ask if a debtor A, B or C?
I would probably...
Okay, I'll put it through EM request.
That's
Perfect.
fine. Without knowing your question, that's a tricky one. However, just note that anything on those attachments would be confidential.
It's fine. I'll send it through email. Yeah. Thank you.
Councillors, the en bloc will be 1411, 1412, 1413, 1415, 1416, 1417, 1418, 1419, 14110, 14111 and 14112. So out of all of those committees, we're pulling just the one, and that's 1414, as it does require an absolute majority. Is there a mover of the en bloc? Thank you, Councillor Della. Seconded, Councillor O'Donnell. No dissent, councillors indicated. Carried 8-0. Councillors, will deal with item 1414, which is the annual financial report for 24-25, noting that there are 3 confidentials as part of the report. The report also has an alternative motion from the committee recommendation. Is there a mover for that motion? That recommendation. Moved, Councillor Della. Seconder, Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Della, you wish to speak? No. Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak? Are there any councillors wish to speak? Any dissent, councillors? No. Carried 8-0. Councillors, for the remainder of your agenda tonight, I'll go through this a little slow because we're a little across it. Item 15.2.1, the resolution. This is probably for the en bloc. Sorry, not probably. This is for the en bloc resolution. Item 15.2.1, the resolution register. Item 15.3.1, the accounts payable for November. Item 15.3.2, the purchasing policy exemptions, July to September. Item 15.3.3, the statement of financial activity, October 2025. Item 15.3.5, the purchasing statistics as of the 30th of September. Item 15.3.5, tenders awarded under delegation from July 2025 to September 2025. Right. I just repeated the same one, didn't I?
Thank you. Different headings.
Yeah, sorry. My apologies. I'll start again. No, that's fine. So 15.2.1, which is the resolution register under the governance and organisational strategy. The remainder of the items under governance and organisational strategy will remain on the agenda tonight. Under item 15.3, that's 15.3.1, the accounts payable report for November 2025. 15.3.2, the purchasing policy exemptions, July 2025 to September 2025. Item 15.3.3, the statement of financial activity, October 2025. Item 15.3.4, the purchasing statistics as of the end of the 30th of September 2025. And item 15.3.5, the tenders awarded under delegation from July 2025 to September 2025. So they are all of the items from finance. As we have several financials under the leases, the only ones under leases, sorry, there's 2 under leases. 15.5.4, the commercial lease renewal retail 292 Hannon Street Optus, and 15.5.6, commercial lease renewal retail 254 Hannon Street Stacey's Hair Candy. Item 15.6.1, RFT 26004, extruding curb works. Item 1571, non-conforming use theatre D055/25, lot 465, number 7, Brooklyn Street, Kalgoorlie. Item 1572, additions and extensions to approved workforce accommodation D108/25, lot 3874, Hopkins Street, South Boulder. Item 1573, the 2026 calendar of events. And item 1574, the 2026 Walk of Fame. They are your en bloc for this evening. Councillors, do you wish to pull any of those? Councillor House, you wish to pull one? Just your microphone, please, Councillor House. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to pull items 15.21, 15.71, 15.72, and just clarification on the numbers. Just bear with me 1 second, please. Yes, 15.54, 15.56.
1556.
Yeah.
Stand by.
That's Candy's.
Yes, yep.
It's 15.72. If I said 0.71 before, I take that back. I don't need to talk about 0.1.
Sure.
It's only 7.2.
Sure.
And 15.73.
Sure.
Just confirm. That's all I have. Thank you.
Sure. Let's go over those again, councillors. 1521 comes back in. So does 1522, 1523, 1524's in, 1525. Sorry, these are not the en bloc. I'm just going over for reference at this point in time. So en bloc starts at 1531, 1532, 1533, 1534, and 1535. $15.54 will be the en bloc. Just confirming, Councillor House, you didn't have 15.54, did you? That's the Optus. Yeah, you did, sorry. No worries, they will stay out then. And 15.56 you also wanted to pull, which was Stacey's hair candy. Yep. 15.61 is part of the en bloc. 15.71 will be part of the en bloc, with Councillor House pulling also 15.72 and 15.73. They won't be part of the en bloc, just clarifying, but 15.74 will. Did we capture that, Councillor House, for you? Excellent. Right. Councillors, we cleared, or would you like me to repeat it? Would you like me to repeat it for the minute? You're good? Okay, we can move on. Do we have a mover for the en bloc? Thank you, Councillor Della. Seconder, Councillor Walker-Dunstan. No dissent, councillors. Those items are all carried 8-0. Item 15.21, the resolution register. Councillor House, you elected that you wanted to pull this. Would you like to move the officer recommendation?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was hoping that
Sorry, are you moving the officer recommendation, or you've got an amendment or an alter?
just walk me through this one. I wish to make an amendment to that recommendation, so if I have to pass the motion first, is that what I have to do?
I'll consider your amendment first. What is your amendment, Councillor House?
So I've got it written here, but essentially in quick terms, it is to have the CEO bring to the next council meeting a report that outlines the status update of the 18 outstanding items that are on the register.
That can be added as point 3. If you wish to add as point 3, your amended motion will be that point 1 stays as is, point 2 stays as it is, and point 3 is what you've just stated. If you'd like to restate that, we'll try and work that through with the minutes secretary at this point in time. So point 3 is for the CEO to report back to council.
Yep. So the next council meeting,
Yep.
the CEO would bring a report that outlines the 18 outstanding items on the register. I think they're classified as either outstanding or pending.
Sure.
And effectively just give us a status update.
An update. Okay, let's work this one through. I'll try and assist you where I can here, Councillor House. So point 3 becomes the CEO updates council. Acting CEO. Sorry, just grab your mic. Sorry. Point 3. Yep.
Request the CEO provide an update to council regarding the 18 outstanding items listed in the register at the next ordinary council meeting.
Yep. Councillor House, happy with that? Do we have a seconder for that or question? Councillor Viskovich, I'll stand by. I'll wait for a seconder first. Deputy Mayor seconded. We have the motion that is now there and put. You have a question, Councillor Viskovich, first of all.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to know in this report, is it a set template that's required by compliance and regulation? Or can we amend this template like we have in the audit and risk and add a potential due date?
We are just receiving and noting the report. That's the intent of the motion. However, if you would like to look at some formatting options for the report moving forward, that's probably one that we can take on notice from the staff at this point in time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor House, you wish to state your motion? Do you wish to speak to your motion?
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. Just briefly, I think that's a great idea from Councillor regarding tracking in status. It's really important, I think, given that we have so many different projects and we have, just looking at the agenda, quite a lot on our plate. Really helpful that we're able to, answer the community's questions when they ask us for reasonable updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor House. Deputy Mayor? Nothing from you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? All right. Councillors, we have an amended motion there, adding that point 3 in. I'll just wait for it to be on the screen so you know, councillors, what you're voting on in its intent. It's up. Oh, sorry, can we repeat it? Yep, sure. Acting CEO, can I get you to repeat, please?
So point 3 will be request the CEO provide an update to council regarding the 18 outstanding items listed in the register at the next OCM.
Councillors, I'll just wait for that to be confirmed in writing for you so you can view it as well. Councillor House, your point 3 is on the screen. Excellent. Councillors, is there any further discussion for that? Councillor Johnson, you wish to speak? No? No dissent has been recorded for that, councillors. That's carried 8-0. Item 15.2.2 is the annual report for 24-25. We have an officer recommendation. Councillors? Is there a mover for the officer recommendation? Moved, Councillor House. Seconder? Councillor Della. Councillor House, you wish to speak? No? Councillor Della, you wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? No? I will just close that out by saying that our public knowledge, public notice for the annual general electors meeting will be here at the Kalgoorlie Town Hall, 5:30 on the 19th of January 2026, to discuss our annual report for the year ending 30th of June 2025. With no dissent to that, councillors, moved by Councillor House, seconded by Councillor Della. That is carried 8-0. Item 15.2.3, councillors. We had this item at the 17th of November ordinary council meeting. A procedural motion was raised to adjourn this report to tonight's meeting. I don't believe we had a mover or a seconder. I think we moved it before we got a mover or a seconder. So therefore we come back tonight with the original officer recommendation, which that council adopt the amended elected member. Geez, there's a lot of deads in this. That council adopt the amended elected member, continuing professional development policy and elected member and CEO attendance at events policy as attached. I believe there may be, I can't preempt, but Councillor Viskovich.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I please make a, it's not an alternate, can I do a change? What is the change?
I will consider your change.
Amendment?
Your amendment would, what does that look like?
To, in section 3,
Sorry, 15.2.3.
I've just realised I'm speaking on the actual policy that I would like to amend.
That's the next one.
For 15.2.3.
Yeah, so what happened at last council meeting is we had the policy review before this item, so therefore the two complemented each other. Now we've got to do the reverse of what we did last time.
Okay.
So there's a way to work this through, councillors. I guess there is an amended motion being put for the next item from Councillor Viskovich. May I make a suggestion? It's up to you. If I can lead you along the path, it's up to you to make a decision.
Yes.
Sure.
Please.
Is to move a procedural motion on this one that the item goes to the next ordinary council meeting.
Just confirming we're on 15.2.3 for elected member professional development policy.
Yep.
Can I ask my question on what I was wanting to amend?
Go ahead.
So all I would like is in 3E of the policy, of the professional development policy, remove flights and accommodation and just keep registration, as the rest will be covered under the elected member and CEO travel policy.
I'll consider your question. That is under the 15.2.3 elected member and CEO attendance at events policy.
Correct. Yes.
And under which particular part of the policy, please repeat?
3E.
3. I've got D as the last one.
On the next page.
On page 3, I've got A, B, C, D under 3. Stand by. I may have elected member continuing development policy, or is it elected member and CEO travel policy?
No, it's not travel.
Stand by. Apologies, councillors.
So 15.2.3.2.
Yep, 15 point. Yeah, I'm not convinced I have the same as you. My question is, please repeat the policy that you wish to pull.
Elected member, continuing professional development policy.
Yep, on that.
Page 3.
Yep.
It says under 3E.
Copy that. Thank you. I'm there now.
Perfect. So just
registration,
remove
travel,
and accommodation. Keep registration as they can organise the registration, but travel and accommodation will come under the travel policy.
acting CEO. Can I defer to you in regards? Yeah. Sorry, Councillor Viskovich, I'm just getting the cross between the different policies. There may be just confirming that. Deputy Mayor, you had a question? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just want to see if I can move a procedural motion on this item.
Can I consider your procedural motion, please, Deputy Mayor?
The procedural motion will be under the standing orders 11.1 point B, that the question is adjourned.
I will take your procedural motion, Deputy Mayor, if you wish to add a time to it.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. That is adjourned until the next ordinary council meeting.
Thank you. That is your procedural motion there, councillors, is that the item is adjourned to the next ordinary council meeting. Is there a seconder to the procedural? Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Deputy Mayor, you wish to speak?
I will, thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to allow sufficient time to assess any changes to policies and impacts on other policies, I think it's only fair that this item is allowed to be considered more thoroughly by councillors and any proposed changes that councillors may want to raise during that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillors, there's a procedural that's been put by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. Those in favour of the procedural motion, please raise your hand. Those against? The procedural is carried 6-2. 15.2.4. Councillor Viskovich.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to put through an alternate motion, which I have emailed through.
Thank you. We'll just get to that alternative motion, councillors, on 15.2.4. The amended motion. Okay. You want to read that? Okay. Stand by, Councillor Viskovich. We'll just get a confirm.
So the wording of the alternate motion is that council adopt the following revised policies as attached: the advertising planning proposals policy, asset management policy, city collections policy, complaints handling policy, compliance policy, contribution to construction school parking policy, contribution to verge paving policy, customer privacy policy, equipment hire policy, private works policy, road train and heavy haulage policy, tourist and service signage policy, trading in public places, food vehicles policy, verge and public open spaces maintenance policy. And two, defer the following policies and request the CEO list these for council consideration at the February 2026 Concept Forum. A, the public participation in council meetings policy. B, the temporary employment or appointment of CEO policy, the floodplain management and development policy, the elected member travel policy, and the community and commercial facility promotional discount policy.
Sorry, can I just confirm we've got the temporary or acting CEO policy in there twice? Are we putting the acting or temporary CEO under the policies to approve, or are we taking it out?
There was a duplication in the email, so it said only pass 1K.
Yep.
But then it was listed in the ones being referred to the concept forum, so I'm not sure what your preference was. We'll need to amend that.
There was discussion on that, councillors. Councillor Viskovich, it's your motion. Sorry.
Yes, if we could please have that in item 2.
Appointment
as
of
the appointment of
So K and M come out of the officer recommendation, which is public participation in council meeting policy and temporary employment or appointment of CEO policy. Both of those come out of the original officer recommendation. They get put to review at a council concept forum.
Yes, please, Mr Mayor. If we can add item 3.
Yep, sorry, I'll just wait for that to come back on screen. So council not adopt the following new policies. That's not correct. Stand by. Councillors, we'll just work through this to ensure that we've got the right motion there. For those who are streaming, we're just ensuring that we've got the correct motion that council will be voting on from Councillor Viskovich. Apologies, Councillor Viskovich. I've just had clarification on one point of your motion, which was the temporary employment or appointment of a CEO policy. That was originally to adopt and then also to review. So that was the intent of that. Is that correct?
So, Mr Mayor, we'd like it to be reviewed.
Not adopt tonight?
Not adopted
Thank
tonight.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Viskovich, on the screen is your amended recommendation. You have a question, Councillor Viskovich?
Just clarifying around the table, if anyone else should have any items that they wish to pull, I wanted to clarify I'd covered.
We can get to that when we debate.
Oh, thank you. Just
May I make a suggestion that the point 3 is February ordinary council meeting after February concept forum, just for ensuring that we have that completely covered. Councillor Viskovich, is that?
Do we need to add in items listed in point 2?
Items under point 2, yep. You happy with that recommendation now?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a mover of that being Councillor Viskovich. Councillors, do we have a seconder? Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Viskovich, wish to speak?
Yes, please, Mr Mayor. Thank you for seconding, Councillor O'Donnell. I just think that there's a few items in the policies that I have pulled that need a little bit of clarification, and I believe there may be a few little double ups in our policies. So I'd just like to have the opportunity to discuss them as a group in a concept forum platform, and just to make sure that we're clear across all of the policies. So I hope that I receive all of your votes.
Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Councillor O'Donnell, wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Am I able to propose an amendment to an amended?
Councillor Viskovich, would you be wise to consider an amendment?
That is fine.
Okay, sorry, wise, not sorry. Would you be welcome to consider an amendment? I apologise, that's the incorrect terminology from me.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Reviewing through the temporary employment or appointment of CEO policy, it does state positions which no longer exist in there to be holding potentially the title of delegated CEO. My amendment to the amendment would be to achieve both the deferral but also the approval of that policy tonight to allow us to continue to operate without any issues.
So your amendment, Councillor Deputy Mayor, is to add back in the temporary employment or appointment of a CEO policy. So it stays still under 2B, but then it also returns to adopt it as well. So we're adopting it, but then we're reviewing it
immediately
afterwards. Councillor Viskovich, are you welcome to that amendment?
Yes, that's fine, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councillor House, you have a question? Sure, go ahead. Turn your microphone on, please, Councillor House.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So the clarifications relating to the policy just mentioned, the temporary CEO, I guess this is a procedural query. What consideration have we given that the acting CEO has potentially created a policy that financially would have impact on her position?
Thank you, Councillor House. I believe that's the consideration that the Deputy Mayor may have. Deputy Mayor, if you wish to answer that, you can go ahead, as you have raised that with me separately.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, if I could request Councillor House to repeat the question.
Sure.
I guess it was a statement more than a question, in fact, in that my query is relating to the policy for the temporary CEO, and our existing acting CEO would, by virtue of that policy being adopted, would influence her financial
Thanks,
outcome.
Councillor House. I'm not going to take that question. The amended report was put in place previously, and I think the Deputy Mayor has covered off that he would like to review it after adoption as well. So,
Clarifying on that though, so if we adopt it, it takes effect, and then review it, then potentially it's changed. Is there, I guess, administratively or procedurally, have we just covered all our bases there?
that's what we've got in terms for what I believe is that we are ensuring the policy change is purely from within an organisational position point of view. It's not from any other point of view, and the Deputy Mayor has indicated to me he'd like to review that after adoption. So, yeah, I can't be probably much clearer than that, is that the change that we're adopting under the policy is to positional, and then the Deputy Mayor would like to review that at the forum and take the opportunity to review that. The amendment was put, so you're happy to include that, Councillor Viskovich, as your amendment. Councillor O'Donnell, are you okay with that secondary? Thank you. Is there any speakers against? With no dissent, councillors indicated, I'll pass that amendment from Councillor Viskovich, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell, 8-0. Item 15.25, Council Working Groups. Councillors, there's an officer recommendation there. I have not received any nominations for the officer recommendation, so let's work that through now. Is there anyone who'd like to be a Deputy Chair to the Local Emergency Management Committee under point 1?
Question, Mr Mayor.
Question. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to ask for clarification as to who currently held that position up until this point.
That was held with the Deputy Mayor, the previous Deputy Mayor. Thank you. So the following members that's fine. Okay, so I take it then that Deputy Mayor, you raised your hand for a question. Were you raising to be that Deputy Chair?
No, Mr Mayor. I'd like to see the position offered to the existing,
Sure.
and then in the event it's not, consider from there.
Sure. Are there any nominees for that position? Councillor Della and Councillor House. I'm happy to have 2 members to work this on an amendment. So this will be an amended recommendation, councillors, to include both positions, because I believe we need a proxy at the same time. Is there anyone that would like to be, out of Councillor Della and Councillor House, anyone that would like to be that Deputy Chairperson role? Alongside. So the councillor, at this point in time, I'm asking for a Deputy Chairperson. And then, so Councillor Della has indicated as a Deputy Chairperson. And as Councillor House has indicated that he'd like to be part of that committee, have Councillor House as a proxy to that committee. Councillor House, would that be suitable for you? Question, go ahead.
How much more do I get paid?
The same amount as me, which is not much. In fact, 0. Councillor Della as the Deputy Chairperson, Councillor House as a council proxy. Sorry to our governance team, this one's on the fly as well tonight. Do you need me to reiterate anything for you? Point A stays as is, Mayor Glenn Wilson to be the chairperson, and B, Councillor Kirsty Della to be the deputy chairperson. Point C, Councillor Richard House to be the council proxy. Thank you. If we could just have that as a full councillor instead of just CR, please. Sorry. Yes. We'll review that. If we could just have the CR deleted out of after, yep, thank you, to be proxy. Thank you. Point 7, councillors, do we have any nominations? We have up to 5 for the Community Safety and Crime Prevention Working Group. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Della, Councillor House. Any further nominations? Councillor Viskovich. Any further nominations? And Mayor Wilson. Excellent. That is your amended recommendation, councillors, for 15.25. Is there a mover for that? Thank you, Councillor Della. Seconder, Councillor Walker-Dunstan. Any discussion, Councillor Della? Any discussion, Councillor Walker-Dunstan? Any discussion, councillors? No discussion? Carried 8-0. 1531, 1532, 1533, 1534, 1535, all taken on block. Councillors, we are at 1541, KBCCI activation of Kalgoorlie Boulder's Central Business District's MOU. I have financials.
Endorse the Chief Executive Officer to execute the Memorandum of Understanding enclosed in the report, affirming Council's support for a collaborative effort with the Kalgoorlie Boulder Chamber of Commerce and Industry to vitalise the the Central Business District of Kalgoorlie Boulder for the period 2025-2026. I can email that to the officers. If
Please
you'd
do.
like.
Please do. Have you sent that across yet, Councillor House? Let's potentially reread if we're having some issues, if that's okay. Governance, let's get a copy of that one for this evening again. So, endorse the Chief Executive Officer to, which is fine. We'll just copy that part down. So this will be point 2 that you're adjusting. Yes? Sorry, let's just review, Councillor House. Endorse the Chief Executive Officer to execute the MOU. Sorry, just grab your microphone as well too, please, sorry.
Where am I? Okay, yes. So endorse the Chief Executive Officer to execute the MOU enclosed in the report, affirming Council's support for a collaborative effort
I
with
can't put affirming Council's support because it may not get support with if the motion is lost, so I won't include that piece.
Okay,
However, continue on.
no drama. Look, I guess the emphasis that I really just wanted to pull out here, and the officers here may have better crafting skills than myself, but was just to really emphasise the collaboration and making sure that element of support is really ringing true and coming through in the resolution.
Sure. Okay. So, just trying to assist you here. I'm trying to get that Endorse the Chief Executive Officer to execute the MOU enclosed in the report. And would you like that report to come back on the collaboration that is ongoing?
No, I don't think as a specific action from this, because I believe one of the actions that would result from this would be at an officer level with respect to streamlining applications and event processes and the such. I don't think that requires a council resolution. It just requires, I guess, collaboration and support.
Yeah, okay. I think that's... in collaboration and support with the KBCCI. Okay. In collaboration and support with the KBCCI. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. That... I would still, if you're open to the amendment, because your intent was the collaboration and support, still endorse the Chief Executive Officer to finalise as well. Finalise and execute. To finalise and execute, can we please add back in? Correct, but we'd also need to sign off on it. It's not final in that report, so it's still in a draft format as presented to us. So we'd be sending them a draft report. Yep. Yep, thank you. Okay, it's your amended recommendation. You wish to, seconder for that, Deputy Mayor. Go ahead, Councillor House, you wish to speak? I think you've spoken a little bit there.
Yeah, look, again, I'll just touch on, I think it's really important that we drive home that message around collaboration and support, that we're really contributing where needed in kind or the like. I think this is a really good initiative, and we've got the right people on board. Looking forward to a good outcome.
Deputy Mayor. Thanks, Councillor House.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I believe any opportunity to work with local businesses and the Chamber to activate our CBDs and our community as a whole should be welcomed, embraced and supported by Council. Through the KBCCI's efforts, with the support of Council, the City and industry, there have been a number of wonderful successes in our community, and I'm very keen to see this maintained and grown. I note this MOU has no budgetary requirements at this point in time, but what it does create is a clear intent of collaboration and partnership between the KBCCI, the City and small businesses for the betterment of our community, and I would encourage my fellow councillors here tonight to support this item.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Before the mover has the right of a reply, I think this is obviously a great step forward to what the City can do with the KBCCI. Activation of any particular CBD, whether it be the Kalgoorlie CBD, the Boulder CBD, Karratha, Port Hedland, anywhere in the nation at the moment is probably something that does require a lot of energy, but it also requires collaboration, scope, good execution and working together. And I think that having this MOU is going to help make our CBDs stronger, and also obviously note that we hold a large parcel of land within the CBD as well. So that the MOU is obviously put in place as well to look at forward opportunities and to continue to support that. Councillor House, you have a right of reply. Do you wish to?
No, thanks.
Thank you. With no further right of reply, there's no dissent, councillors. I'll carry that 6-0. Thank you. Councillor Johnson, you'll now be required to leave the room. Councillor Johnson, I may change the agenda, but I'll get back to you on that. I'll let you know. I'll try and keep it as streamlined as possible. Councillors, we will consider items, just as Councillor Johnson's out, he'll have to come back in and go out and come in and go out. Let's consider 15.5.1, 15.5.2, 15.5.5 in that order, and then bring Councillor Johnson back in. He has interests in those three. That's fine. Councillor Johnson is away from there. We'll let the doors open. Let the people come in. Item 15.51, Council, this is commercial lease renewal at the airport for BHP Nickel West. Councillor Johnson has an existing commercial lease at the airport and has left the room. Do we have a mover for that? Okay, questions. I will take your questions first. Councillor House.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just reference to the annual rent of $2,835. I just wanted to understand, and I couldn't really draw this conclusion from the report myself, was the difference in annual rates for the same site. I presume maybe it's something to do with the particular activity, but just noting there, I think there's 3 different items that we're discussing regarding the airport, and they seem to have just largely different fee structures. So just clarity on that, please, Mr. Mayor.
Acting CEO.
I might need to defer that one to the director, if that's okay.
Thank you, Director Jaeger, to answer that question for us.
Thank you, through the Mayor. So the airport leases, we have a valuation undertaken on those. They have different requirements, and sometimes it's vacant land, sometimes there's building. So they do look at each individual site, but there are different factors that are coming into play, which is why they're also different. It depends what's being proposed, what's on the site currently.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor House. Councillor Delly, you also have a question?
May I please leave the room?
Sure. Noting for the record that Councillor Della has left the room. Do we have a mover? Deputy Mayor, question?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just through yourself to the Director. Just confirming the wording is correct that what is proposed is the agreed annual rent of $2,835, inclusive of GST. That's not monthly, that's an annual rent.
If you're
yes,
happy,
that's
Acting
correct.
CEO for the Director.
Sorry, yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Is there a mover of the recommendation? Moved, Deputy Mayor, seconded, Councillor O'Donnell. Do you wish to speak to that, Deputy Mayor? No. Councillor O'Donnell, wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? Councillor House?
I just can't see where there's a price adjustment in the charge either, or is that set in the fees and charges, Mr. Mayor? Essentially what I'm asking is if we're charging an annual rent of $2,835 excluding GST, how is GST recouped? I presume that we would have to pay it if it's excluding GST, and if in this case here, it's a fixed term of 5 years, what is the increase adjustment, or what's the tool to increase annually?
I think the point is probably from the independent third-party valuation, but I'll defer to the Acting CEO, who will defer to the Director on that. Director, just make sure that you understood the question.
I believe so, Mr. Mayor. In
ahead.
terms of increases, that's built into the lease, so there's annual increases, generally CPI, over the 5-year period, so all of our leases have that built into them. Sorry, what was the second question?
The GST component.
Oh, GST. Yes, so it's inclusive. They will pay the GST as well. So the figure is excluding GST, and then that's put on top.
Supplement. Sorry, did you say put on top?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we quote what the rental is, excluding GST, and they will pay that GST portion.
According to this resolution, that's not what would happen.
No, but that's what will happen and be picked up in the accounting process that our teams will do.
Yes.
So
We wouldn't be putting in there the plus GST amount. We'll be putting into council to recommend the excluding GST amount. When the invoice is then sent to the lessor, is that right, lessor? Then the GST will be added to their invoice.
It's not my place to get into the administration or the financial governance, but I'm just my point as a lay observer, someone at the pub, if I read this, I see excluding GST. Once I got my bill, if I saw, well, now I've got an additional charge, it's going to be, I think, reasonable question, and I think it's always better to be clear.
Acting CEO?
The arrangements are covered under the terms of the lease, so the detail in terms of all of these things are factored in to the lease terms and conditions.
Just, are we able to kind of, in future, draw this out in the reports themselves? So just so we're not having to ask these clarifying questions if they're already bound legally through the lease process. I think that would just kind of reduce any of these types of questions.
Thank you, Councillor House, for the feedback, and I'm sure we could deliver that for you. We did not have a mover for the recommendation. Sorry, we did have a mover. The Deputy Mayor, I can see you there. Councillor O'Donnell seconded. No, you can't get any brighter. Let me make a note. Is there any dissent, councillors? No dissent? Carried 6 nils. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nil. Yes. Still leave Councillor Johnson there. Yep. Thank you. Councillor Della returned to the chamber at 8:16. Thank you. Item 15.5.2 is the commercial lease at the airport for Viva Energy Aviation. We have an officer recommendation. Is there a mover of the officer recommendation? Councillor Della, seconder. Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Della, you wish to speak? Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak? Any discussion, councillors? No? With no discussion, I'll carry that 7-0. Councillors, will come back to 15.5.3 and 15.5.4. I'll cover off 15.5.5 while we've got Councillor Johnson out of the room, as he's indicated a financial interest in that item as well. We have a officer recommendation for 15.5.5. Moving the officer recommendation, Councillor House.
I have a just a clarifying question, please, Mr. Mayor.
Sure. I'll consider your question.
Just correct me if I'm wrong. The fee structure here is the services at the airport for 5 years with an option. That's cool. So with a license fee of 10% of gross revenue. Could I get some clarity around that? I just couldn't see there being any formula or methodology to that particular item. What would be the calculation per year? Is there historical data to give us an indication? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'll consider your question. Stand by. So under page 116 of your agenda, in accordance with advice from third-party valuer for determination of car rental licence fees at regional airports, reading from the report here, the licence fee has been determined based on 10% of gross revenue generated from their operations. This method of calculation is consistent with the previous licence. Maintaining this percentage ensures continuity, transparency and alignment with the established industry and city arrangements. The proposed licence will be issued for a term of 5 years with a further 5 years as well. And then it goes into where that licence area is located. Your question would be then, if I can summarise for you as it's printed in the report, is how we have implemented that in the past. Is that probably your question?
I think you've sufficiently addressed my question, and the answer is you should read your report better, Rick. So no, thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. You've covered that well.
It's okay, just providing the report for you. Mover for 15.5.5. Thank you, Councillor Della. Seconder. Councillor Viskovich. Any dissent, councillors? No? I'll move that 7-0. May we have Councillor Johnson back in the room, please? It's a revolving door tonight, isn't it? And I will consider item 15.5.3. Councillor Johnson, we considered the three items that you have financial interest in this evening, so therefore we're skipping back to item 1553, which is a commercial lease retail 7/272 Market Arcade Marwung Family Support Services Proprietary Limited. The Deputy Mayor has declared a financial interest in this item as he is employed by a competitor in this space. Do I have a mover for the officer recommendation? Moved by Councillor House. Seconder? Councillor Walker-Dunstan. Any discussion, councillors? No discussion? No dissent, councillors indicated? Thank you. The item is carried 7-0. May we have the Deputy Mayor back, please? Welcome back, Deputy Mayor. We're up to 1554, which is the commercial lease renewal, retail 292 Hannon Street for Optus. There is an officer recommendation there, councillors. Is there a mover of the officer recommendation? Moved, Councillor Della. Seconder. Deputy Mayor. Councillor Della, you wish to speak? Deputy Mayor, you wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? No? With no dissent indicated, councillors, I'll carry that 8-0. 1555 we've considered. 1556 is a commercial lease renewal retail 254 Hannon Street, Stacey's Hair Candy. Councillors, we have an officer recommendation that's put there. Is there anyone that wishes to move that officer recommendation? Moved, Councillor Della. Seconder? Sorry, question, sorry, not moving.
Were there any councillors with interest in this before we...
I don't have a record of any councillors with a financial interest in this matter or any interest in this matter. Thank you. Item 1556, officer recommendation. Is there a mover? Thank you, Councillor Della. Seconder? Councillor Johnson. Any discussion, councillors? No discussion? No dissent being recorded? I'll carry this item 8-0. Councillors, item 1557 is MT Dance fee waiver request. We did have two financials for this, which is the Deputy Mayor and Councillor Viskovich. We still have a quorum being 5. Councillors, we had a procedural motion that this is picked up as the officer recommendation from the previous meeting on the 18th of August. So therefore, there is an officer recommendation that is put for 1557. Is there a mover of the officer recommendation? Moved, Councillor Della. Is there a seconder? Council, no seconder? The item has lapsed. Thank you, Council. We won't be considering item 1557 without a seconder. May we have the Deputy Mayor and Councillor Viskovich back, please? Item 1561 under engineering was under en bloc. Item 1562, treatment lagoons 1C and 1D, South Boulder Wastewater Treatment Plant. There is an officer recommendation. Councillor House, you have a clarification or a question? Question? Thank you. Go ahead with your question.
Question, Mr. Mayor. The question relates to the report, the supplementary report that the officers provided, which is a technical report prepared by the consultant Wise. That report details and relates to the environmental protection notice and the compliance program required to achieve license obligations. In both documents, the officer's report and the consultant's report, I can't find any justification or any support from the regulator that these two lagoons are warranted and assist in our compliance program for the environmental protection notice. So can I have some clarity? Oh, so that's the question. Can I have some clarification on why it's not mentioned?
Just let me consider your question. Your question is why it's not mentioned in other reports. And my take on that, just give me a moment so I consider what's in the report. So you would like clarification, Councillor House, on why there was no mention in those previous reports on 2 additional lagoons needing to come online.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, all right, we'll get that answer. That answer, Acting CEO, to the Director of Engineering.
Through yourself, Mr. Mayor. Section 17 of the EPN requires the city, within 30 days of the person to provide this notice, provide a South Boulder wastewater treatment plant management plan to the CEO, which is the CEO for DWER, for approval, outlining how wastewater is proposed to be managed at the premises for up to 18 months from the date of receiving this notice, by adopting one of the combination of the following: removal and transfer of wastewater to the premises, installation of enclosed containment infrastructure at the premises, installation of treatment infrastructure, equipment capable of treating wastewater to required treatment specifications and details are nominated, and capacity of treatment infrastructure, equipment and treatment specifications. And all of that was outlined within the WISE report, showing that in the WISE report, it was called dams 2A and 2B, but could be renamed, which we have renamed it 1C and 1D, so not to interfere with dams 2 and dam 3 that are currently out. So it's contained within the 170-page report. So this is how council, for the next 18 months, would be treating the water in the interim while we fix up the IDEA plan.
Thank you, Director. Councillor House.
Thank you for that answer. What I want to understand is the council has allocated $5.5 million to the IDEA plant. The environmental protection notice demands that the IDEA plant is resolved. They've been relatively broad in terms of the solution, because it's not the regulator's job to determine the solution, it's to regulate.
Thank you, Councillor House. Can we get to your question, please?
The nuance here, and it's important that there is context around the compliance element, because the $5.5 million is a response to a compliance matter. The IDEA plant, there has been a point in time where council has resolved that they would go forward with the IDEA plant. That's in alignment with the environmental protection notice. So really my question is at what point in time did the ship turn around? And when the ship did turn around, where is the documentation that is outlined that clearly articulates why we're doing this, how it achieves the objectives required under the notice, and more importantly, overall strategically, how is this going to benefit the facility itself?
Thank you, Councillor House. I believe all of that information is covered off in the report. Your point about budgets, the budget capital budget allocation was made prior to receiving the EPN. The EPN was given to us in late July. The capital budget allocation of $5.5 million was already allocated prior to that EPN, so therefore officers are requesting this evening for $2 million from that to be put towards this process, which will help further expedite works that will help improve the performance of our wastewater treatment plant. Do we have a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Johnson, you wish to move? Yep, if you could turn your mic on, please, Councillor Johnson.
Our idea plan has got a 5.5, whatever it was, allocation to that already, and that is mentioned by the regulator in this case. By moving 2 million of that aside to do up these lagoons, the idea plants aren't cheap. How can we justify moving money across, and then where do we get the money to put it back? Do we take it from another project on the water bank? Maybe diversion of funds out of the golf course?
Thanks. Sorry, Councillor Johnson.
No, that was my
You're
question.
starting to debate.
Yeah.
I won't take that. I will ask on, that is being put to Council tonight to consider. So there is a budget allocation, as mentioned, of $5.5 million. Council being asked to consider moving $2 million of that to bring these lagoons on, to be part of the bigger overall picture. In regards to the idea plant, as we were presented in that tour of the site, which you attended as well, it takes a lot more to get to that function, which probably won't be able to be allocated out of this particular financial year.
Just to supplement to that
Sure.
question, if I may, would we have an estimate of what an idea plant replacement will be to please DEWA?
Sure. I will take some advice here in regards to costings of idea plants. I know that they're not something you can just buy off a shelf. Acting CEO, if you'd like to defer to Director of Engineering, who may have the costings of those.
Through the Mayor, if I can assist with both those questions. Currently, we're looking at the idea plant, but we're looking at the primary process. Whether it stays at idea or other processes, that's what we're working through. Hence, we're not there yet. The second part is the only information we have around idea plants currently is the Shire of East Pilbara, and their idea plant has taken 5 years and $40 million.
Thank you. Councillor House.
I just want to clarify what the Director has just presented. Was that statement that we don't know what we're doing with the idea plan, but the notice, environmental protection notice, says we have to fix it? I'm at odds with that statement.
Okay. If you're at odds with the statement, that's your statement. It was a statement, not a question. No, sorry, you asked a question.
That's a fact.
No, I didn't ask for that. I asked for a question. Councillor Viskovich.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just should this motion not get across the line, are we at risk of breaching the EPN notice for any timeframes that we need to meet?
There are stipulations within the EPN that we need to meet. Without considering the motion at this point in time, because it's not on the table, I probably won't give you much more of an indication of that. The report does say that we do have timelines on what needs to be completed. Do we have a mover, councillors, of the officer recommendation? Moved, Councillor Della. Seconded, Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Della, you wish to speak?
I do, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to flick back to the report, if I may. My computer's just flicked out.
Sure.
Do you have it on a page so that I can go to it direct? Because this keeps jumping on me.
Yeah, 139.
Thank you. Okay, so first of all, I would like to raise the point that this has been brought to council so that we can improve on the current processes out at our wastewater treatment plant. And although this may not be popular in the community at the moment, this is something that we really need to progress on. And it's something that, as a city, the Director alluded to it, that we've been working on this, and so did yourself, Mr. Mayor, that we've been working on this project for quite some time. Although not the same, it has had to reinvent itself. The current system the way that it is not functioning ideally. And what we want to do is get the South Boulder wastewater treatment plant optimised so that we are not perceived as a problem in the community as far as the smell or the odours go. Or what we want to do is try to get our own backyard in order so that we know that we're doing everything that we can as a responsible community. So I would like the councillors around the table to look at supporting me in this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Della. Councillor O'Donnell, you don't wish to speak. Speaker against? Councillor House?
I will speak out against this recommendation. I'm actually really disappointed that we're having to consider a $2 million request with no documentation. It is paramount to have a clear pathway for this project because we don't approve it. The only part that we would approve would be the funding. The regulator will have 100% control of these outcomes. And I've asked a reasonable question, and I think would be part of any due diligence is that you have support from the regulator, that you have at a minimum in principle support or in principle advice, just advice from the regulator saying that that proposal that we have set out will achieve the objectives under the EPN and will ultimately serve as the main processing technique for the facility. Without having such a document from the regulator, it's a punt at best. As I've alluded to, and I'm happy to be challenged on this point, that if anybody can go through those reports and point me in the direction where it refers to the 2 lagoons being the solution, well then I'll put the sword away. But if we can't see that in the report and we're being asked to make a $2 million decision, well, councillors, I think the answer is easy in terms of where your support should lie. It should lie in not supporting this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor House. Speaker for, speaker against. Councillor Johnson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also speak against this because it is a movement of funds from an already assigned DWORT requirement and just to put into two lagoons, which are going to be basically the same as Lagoon 1A and 1B. They are small in nature. $1 million each is quite a big fee for that. I think if there would probably be a minor adjustment, I think, if those were used and we developed them as lagoons. However, the big picture is not that. That's not what we've been asked to do. We've got screens going in. I know when we did the tour out there, the screens that are going in are going to make some difference in any case. We've gone down that pathway. I just can't see, and I like Councillor House, if there's a report in there that tells us that putting 2 lagoons in is going to make a big wow of a difference and not cost us $2 million, then I'd support it. But today I can't support that for $2 million. I'd rather see it sit where it is, continue down the pathway of getting this up to speed. I also, at the meeting out at the wastewater treatment plant, asked the question on how long would it take to get us squeaky clean, and I was given 2 years. By moving money around, it's not going to give us 2 years. And that wasn't with the lagoons, it was to put in these idea plants or something similar. Water Corp itself today has plants like this with idea plants which they are moving away from. And my suggestion would be that we piggyback on the back of Water Corp really bad and we get what they want and we get a good pricing and or get Water Corp up here to assist us with moving forward. But just for the sake of that, and I also like to add that we've got a water bank project and we've got work going on at the golf course, et cetera, to expand our water collections. We could probably go into some of those funds as well and look at it down the track to resolve this stink. And I think that's our main aim. That's what the community want. And the more I'm reading about it, and I drive past there every day, and it stinks every day. I think, and I praise the city for one thing, that they have put in the P-trap type arrangements in the city. And I think that is a major cause of, they're picking it up because it's getting caught in our probably not up to speed sewage works. Where I live, the sewage works have been there 25 years. So we've got a lot more research to do. I don't know whether this is just a knee-jerk reaction, so I'm not going to support it this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Speaker for? Speaker against? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, to be completely honest, I could have went either for or against on this item. And while at this point in time I'm speaking against the item, I have not yet decided where I'm going to vote, as while I completely understand the logic being asked of council through this proposal, I do hold some concerns in regards to differing of focus in particular. For me, given one of the biggest issues reported as facing our community is around odour, and doubling what we currently have in terms of ponds, while expected to assist with odour if other measures are also carried out alongside it, I do hold some concerns on the level of positive impact that this project would have on our community as opposed to something like an idea plant, which I do note could take up to 3 to 5 years to build if it was started today. I appreciate the tough position that we are in as a city and that we need a processing system other than the idea plant due to it becoming obsolete as previously indicated by city officers. And we are waiting on the best alternative options for this, while also trying to ensure we are complying with the EPN requirements, which is focused presently around the idea plant, not lagoons. This proposal will also allow for greater storage capacity, which is always welcomed. However, I just don't want focus and effort to be pulled from focusing on getting a processing system going ASAP, given the time it will take to build. An efficient processing system, like the idea plant, can process waste in around 48 hours compared to 21 plus days if taken using ponds. I'd also like to see funds to stay with the idea plant budget, so we are ready to move and act on a suitable system once one is identified. I also have concerns that the budget is based on estimates based on the 2021 refurbishment costs of the lagoons, which could very much see this project balloon out. At this point in time, I'd consider this project tonight as a stopgate measure to buy us a bit of time while also improving our storage capacity for the city. Even though what is being proposed tonight is not directly required as part of the EPN requirements, and officers do believe it will not only assist in addressing the EPN requirements and improve storage capacity for the city, then maybe at this point in time we should be considering building one, then assessing the gains and impacts before proceeding to the second. And if there was a way to see funds not pulled from an area that we definitely need to be working on in the immediate future, then that would put me at ease. So as such, Mr. Mayor, I'd probably prefer to propose an amendment if that's possible.
I'll consider your amendment. We've got Councillor Della and also Councillor O'Donnell who have moved the officer recommendation, noting that debate has already happened on the actual amendment, so therefore there won't be any debate on your amendment.
Still present?
Still present. Put it forward to see
for consideration.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Or foreshadowing as well, either.
Either or, thank you. And that would, foreshadow might be the easier option. That would be to change point 2 of the officer's recommendation to be to explore and report back to council on options as to where the budget relocation can come from, other than the SBWWTP idea plant upgrade / renewal budget for the design and construction of Lagoon 1C and 1D. And 3, officers report back to council on if this proposal meets EPN requirements.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. I note your foreshadowed motion. Speaker for. Speaker against. Before the mover has the right of reply. Councillors, this is obviously a decision that we know that we face in the community an odour problem. Can I also note from your comments tonight around the table, we are not the only odour emitter in the city. It was identified in the report However, obviously, as the owner of the wastewater treatment plant, we do receive a lot of publicity around that, and we are working to ensure that our plant is at its efficiency and is at its best outcomes for our community, and that includes making sure that the odour is treated as it should be. I'll support the officer recommendation on the following. Under point 1 of the EPN, the cease the discharge of water to Hannans Lake. Councillors, you have a requirement to understand the EPN. One of the details of this particular project is to stop that water going out of the facility when we receive large rainfalls, when we're at capacity, therefore going into the environment. This project is there under the EPN requirement to cease the discharge of water to Hannans Lake and stop that and capture more water for us. Further to that, our current inflows, as has indicated to those who took part in the tour, and I'll reiterate, are currently higher than expected and higher than we've actually budgeted for. So we've actually got more wastewater that's going into our plant than our plant was probably designed for in the first place. But at the same time, with that extra inflow that's going into our facility, we've got to have somewhere to put it. At the moment, that excess, when we receive a large rainfall, and we only need probably 30 to 40 mil of rain at one time, can really bolster up our particular facility and therefore push water through the system a lot quicker, taking on more than what we're designed for. That then puts more constraint on our system and doesn't allow us to be as efficient as possible. I understand the concerns about the IDEA plan. I understand the concerns about whether or not we're diverting funds for a purpose that it was not intended. However, I also understand, and I have trust in the fact that our band screens that are going in will take significant solids out of the water before they reach that point, and we're able to take those out of the system before they become an issue in those ponds. I'd like to know if there's anywhere in the world where there's a wastewater treatment plant that doesn't smell. I think it's an opportunity for us to take a road trip. However, I digress with a little bit of humour. Water Corp also face the same dilemmas in regards to their processing at sites right across the state. Water Bank and those funds still tied up with government approval. A short-term opportunity, and I understand the sensitivities from councillors about whether or not this should go to an IDEA plant or not. At this point in time, we're looking for alternative measures that could be far more feasible in the long term. That's a long bow of a string to pull. However, what I am more concerned about is that we have an opportunity to stop the pollution, the discharge into Hannans Lake, and have more water security for our community at the same time, as opposed to wasting it at the moment with this particular motion. It is one of the measures that has been identified by the EPN, and that's why I'm supporting this particular motion this time. Councillor Dell, you have the right of reply.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And again, I'd like to reiterate to the councillors around the table that this is a $2 million request with a clear pathway to cease non-compliant activities. I'm requesting your support. There has been detailed consultation and to achieve the desired outcomes. If we continually kick the tin down the road, we run the risk of being non-compliant. DWER have suggested that this is a determined long-term solution. Odour emissions is our number 2 issue in the community at the moment. What we need to do is work with the regulators. They've been working on this for a long time now with staff, and we need to start now. We've had complaints. One member of the public got up tonight and said 2 years. We debated it's probably longer. If we don't start now, we become part of the problem. Councillors, I ask for you to all support the officer's recommendations. The 2 ponds are there. This is a reinstatement of another use of 2 ponds. We are not starting from scratch. From those who were on the tour, we went out, we saw the ponds, they are there, they are ready for the works to begin. So please, councillors, support the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Della. As dissent has been indicated from around the table, I'll put the item to a vote. Those in favour of the officer recommendation, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those against? 1, 2, 3. The vote is carried. It is a absolute majority required, so therefore the vote needed to be 5 to be passed. The motion is passed. (15.7.1) was part of the en bloc. 15.7.2, there was a request to pull that from Councillor House. Do you have an alternative recommendation or an amended recommendation, Councillor House? Microphone. It's the additions and extensions to approved workforce accommodation.
Yes, I do have an alternative recommendation, and that is for council to refuse the application due to non-compliance and continued non-compliance.
Councillors, we have an alternative recommendation there from Councillor House. Is there a seconder to Councillor House? Councillor O'Donnell has seconded that. I'll consider your question, Councillor Johnson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. By refusing the already in place items, this then opens up the pathway to SAT, for then this to be adjudicated by SAT, probably costing the city legal fees, etc., to go through to get something, because we're knocking it back and it's already there. How do we work in regards to that?
Thank you. I think, let me try and get your question, is if the, now I'm trying to get my head around it, sorry. If the amended recommendation is successful, is there an implication to the city via SAT and or financial implication to the city via SAT?
If I expand on that, in the officer's recommendation, it does say that the proponents can go via SAT.
Sure. Okay. No worries. We'll get some clarification on that. Acting CEO, Director of City and Community to answer.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that is right. That the proponent could go to SAT and that would incur legal fees for the city.
Thank you. Councillor House, your amended recommendation was put and seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. You have the floor.
I have the floor. Thank you. Thank you very much. The argument that the legal fees would be a determining factor on how we consider the application is a misalignment with what we're actually trying to achieve. What we're trying to achieve as a council and having schemes and having policies and things like this in place is that we set a clear expectation for developers. It's clear that when they make a decision, they make an investment, they know what they're up for. It's also imperative that we understand the needs and the capacity of what we can currently provide. Now, why am I saying these things? Well, it's because the question of the compliance matter for this particular development, council gave their initial support for this project to support the need for accommodation in the community. The argument was, and it was a valid argument, that the workers for that particular construction program were taking up good bricks and mortar houses. Those workers in those bricks and mortar houses come out and go into the accommodation. And that was needed because there wasn't any available housing in the market. But what changed with that proposal and what we're seeing with other workforce accommodation proposals is the moving away from the accommodation model and having the all-in-one model where we have got all the commercial uses. We have the laundry, we have the mess, we have the laundry, did I say that? The fitness component. Look, it's a mini village. And the premise has always been from the community is that we're happy to take a hit with the housing because at the end of the day, housing affects a small number of businesses here in our community. We have 3 or 4 building companies. We don't have any building supply companies. So the only downstream impact from workforce accommodation, purely accommodation, is a rates base. If the builders can keep up with the work, that would be great, but that's not sustainable. So my point here is the project that is under question right now started off as just dongers. It grew to what it is now. Now, the council has also gone out of their way to facilitate a change in the policy to increase the use, the temporary nature of development from 5 years to 10 years. So I think we've been very accommodating for this developer. We've been very accommodating to the point where we've allowed them to change the rules, and we have essentially complied. And that's what we would be doing here, councillors, by virtue of the fact that it's retrospective. The landowner or the developer has gone and done these works knowing that they were non-compliant, because I've got to presume we didn't go out and ask them to comply with this. How would we know? So you then have to ask yourself, why are they coming to us seeking retrospective approval? When is the next retrospective approval coming? When is the next change coming? And are we going to support that? When do we draw a line in the sand? And I suggest, council, you do not have a better chance than tonight to draw the line in the sand and say, enough's enough. If we've got rules, you follow them. If you break the rules, you pay a consequence. And in terms of consequence in this particular scenario, and just to cover off on previous commentary made, the only body, apart from the state, if it so wished, to take up compliance action for the planning issue would be us. We would be the determining factor. So the element of penalty, we can penalise them if he wanted to, but that would be counterproductive. The penalty for the developer or the land manager is how do they work out the legalities regarding having a portion of their development that's non-compliant. Now, I think that would be an integral thing for a mining company to have is to cover all their risks and to undertake non-compliant works. I'm not going to comment on the operations, but from a council point of view, it's a high risk. It's a sensitive issue in the community. By just granting these retrospective approvals, like handing them out, it says to the community, it says to the mining companies that they can do what they want, and we will facilitate it. So I encourage you, councillors, to say enough's enough, and if you want to work with us, mining companies, then please, we will work with you. But running off and doing it and seeking retrospective approval, that's, if anything, it's offensive to me and the community. Thank you.
Councillor O'Donnell. Point of clarification, yes?
Councillor House said it's non-compliant of changing a laundry to a 4-bedroom, because that's all that's being proposed here. Change the laundry to a 4-room accommodation. They've already got approval, everything's been done before. I looked on, when I was doing my reading, page 173, policy implications. The proposal is consistent with the following city local planning policy, advertising planning proposal policy. There are no policy implications resulting from the recommendations of this report. So my question is, of clarification, how is this non-compliant? This application to change from a laundry to a room?
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. The retrospective application is for the approval of an additional accommodation unit to replace the laundry unit. With that, there is a requirement for an additional parking bay, which is point or limb 2 of the officer recommendation. The assessment of the additional unit against our LPS has resulted in that. We've received advice that confirms that the amendment does not provide the opportunity for the decision maker to undertake a reassessment of the facility against LPS 2, we being the decision maker in this process. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That's as part of the conclusion on 171. Do you wish to speak as a secondee? Go ahead. I've also got a question from Councillor Della lined up, but you were first there and you're the seconder.
Yes, I seconded this. I wanted to hear the reasons why Councillor House had. I have no issue with changing from a laundry to a 4-person accommodation. The only area I do have an issue with is with developers coming to us with proposals and then in a short space of time come back, I want to change and I want to do this, I want to add that and that. They spend so much time working it all out and then they keep coming back. That's an issue I have, but in this instance, I have no issue with this.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Delly, you have a question. 2 questions, go ahead.
Through to the Director or yourself, Mr Mayor, you may be able to answer this. Retrospective approval, is this indicating that the laundries have already been removed and the bedrooms have already been instated in the development? Are we talking retrospective, or are we talking retrospective that they are going to wait for the approval for the works to be carried out?
I'll seek some advice from the Acting CEO, who's deferring to the Director of City and Community to answer.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Yes, the works have been undertaken, which would make them essentially non-compliant for having done them without approval. However, the Planning and Development Act does allow for local governments to do retrospective approvals, and the matters we're considering are essentially, would the change have been approved if it had been submitted that way as a relevant consideration. It is under the advice that because there's still the provision of enough laundry units, is that would likely to have been supported. And our recommendation or advice is it would likely to be supported by SAT as being reasonable, given there are provisions for local governments to make retrospective approvals. When you do make a retrospective approval, as in this instance, then it's deemed to have complied.
Councillor Delly, have a follow-up question?
Follow-up question, through you, Mr Mayor. Councillor House mentioned that, and I may have overlooked this, where this approval also indicated going from 5 years to 10 years, and I did not see that in the report.
That is not located in the report as far as I'm aware.
And a third question, through conversation, it's mentioned that if this goes to SAT that there would be financial implications. What costing would that look like?
Thank you, Councillor Dell. I'll refer to the Acting CEO and the Director of City and Community through that to give you an idea on cost.
Through you, Mr Mayor, that is very difficult to answer. Each case is different. The amount of evidence that our lawyers would need to look into review and the time spent on it can be significant. Again, depends on the instance of what we would need to prepare.
Thank you. Speaker against. Speaker for. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, while I'm extremely frustrated and not supportive of applicants continuing to seek retrospective approvals on differing works and changes to original applications previously approved, taking what appears to me as a asking for forgiveness, not approval approach, I have no choice but to acknowledge that the works being applied for have been completed to development work requirements. While I don't like the way this is completed, until there are significant changes to the Planning and Development Act, development planning approvals and retrospective approvals, I cannot see any legal options as to say no. As such, I don't believe that I have any other options at this point in time but to approve without incurring unwarranted costs to the city and ratepayers, and would encourage my fellow councillors to do so also.
Just to clarify, Deputy Mayor, were you speaking for Councillor House or against Councillor House's amended recommendation?
Against. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Just to clarify. I think there's a couple of councillors who are just almost of the same as me, whether or not that was officer recommendation or Councillor House. That was a speaker against, speaker for, speaker against. Councillor Della speaking against.
Just again, echoing what Councillor Deputy Mayor Winner has put forward, retrospective approval in this instance, it it complies with the local planning schemes, so I'm confident there, although retrospective approval is not ideal. And also, I think being that the financial burden is so unknown, it would be irresponsible as councillors to pursue this any further.
Speaker for, speaker against. Councillor Johnson, speaking against. Go ahead.
Even though I'm torn on this one as well, the development value is $15,000. If this was to go off to SAT, that would be a lot more. The message needs to get out there, and I support Councillor House by trying to work this way to get it out there. So in retrospective, over a development like this, is really just having a stab at council and our decisions. I spoke very much against these developments out in Hopkins Street right from the very get-go, and that's when it was in 5 years. They picked up on the 10 years, they improved some facades. Now they're changing things around by just going, well, so what? That really frustrates me, and I can see where Councillor House is coming from with that. However, I'm hoping that maybe the press are going to pick up on this and say, hey, maybe enough's enough, or we need to do something down the track to have retrospective approvals, which are just painful. There's a lot of them happening in the city, lots and lots and lots of them happening in this city. So at this case, this time I'll have to speak against it, and maybe we do need to go back and look at our policy ourselves and see what we can do in that space. Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Councillor House, you have a question? Yeah, not just yet. You're jumping the gun, son. Speaker for, speaker against. Before the mover has the right of reply, I think there's obviously a common message here is that we don't like retrospective. If we can try and make sure that our policy is strengthened, that comes through in the policy, which is what Councillor Johnson had to say. I think a couple of other councillors are alluding to that. Then I guess that's probably the role that we'll have to play in regards to retrospective. Councillor House, now you have the right of reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The arguments that I'm hearing around the table are based on finances. That we're making a decision as a council because it may cost something. It may cost us a little bit of extra money. Now, let's say that we spent that little bit of extra money and we were successful. Would that be a good investment or not? I would think it would be, because it would go a long way to achieving the councillor's commentary around getting the message out there to the media, that we're sending a strong message. There's no other way to send a strong message than we make a decision. We stop kicking the can down the road and we put the line in the sand and we say to ourselves, can this development still operate? Can they still do what they're going to do? Are they going to be closed down tomorrow? No. But will they have to work that little bit harder? Yes. Do the officers now have to work a little bit harder? Yes. Is this going to put animosity and a more of a negative perception within the community that we're not doing enough about workforce accommodation? Yes. Because when the rules are set, everybody needs to apply to those rules. And then when the development is workforce accommodation and we turn around and go, that's okay, it's not that big of a deal, what it says is that if it's a laundry, small laundry now, next development, it could be anything. And I'm not going to speculate what that anything is going to be. But let's assume that the landowner has a pretty good indicator where we're going to lean in the future.
Councillor House, with your right of reply, you're introducing some new information, some new commentary. It's really to rebut the comments which you made, which you started off doing. So if you could just refer back to that before you close it off, please.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's a fair point, and I won't touch on that element again. But I can't stress enough the importance of demonstrating not only to this city staff who have the obligation of ensuring compliance, of preparing the laws, the policies, and also the community who approves those. Our job is to uphold them. It's really, fundamentally our job is to uphold those rules. And we cannot be subjective on these matters. It's kind of black and white. So look, I don't think I'm going to get this support tonight, and so be it. But I think fundamentally we need to have a much, much broader conversation on this, and I hope we can have opportunity in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor House. As there has been dissent indicated to the particular amended motion, I'll put the amended motion as moved by Councillor House, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. Those in favour of the amended motion? This is the amended motion that Councillor House posted. So, Councillor House. So, yep. Councillor Walker-Dunson, Councillor House, Councillor Johnson, 4. Those against? Councillor Viskovich, Councillor O'Donnell, Councillor Della, Deputy Mayor, Mayor Wilson. The vote is lost 3-5. The officer recommendation is then put, and there's no other amendment. Is there a mover for the officer recommendation? Move Councillor Viskovich, seconded Councillor Della. Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would too like to second the points that have been brought to the table about bringing completed developments to the table for approval. I don't believe potential legal costs should be a factor in any of our decision makings. However, I hope that having this motion moved tonight encourages community members and businesses to ensure that they become compliant as soon as possible, and to ensure that all developments are requested prior to developments being completed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Councillor Della, you wish to speak? No? Any councillors wish to speak? Deputy Mayor, speaking for or against?
For, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
As highlighted previously, the frustration around the table I think is very evident, and I agree with Councillor House and Councillor Johnson in particular that we need to have a look at what other options we can do to assist in curbing this moving forward, although we are restricted a bit by the Act. I don't believe this is a financial decision at all. I see it as I can't see any legal options to say no at this point in time, having reviewed it thoroughly, without taking a moral ground more than anything else, but I can't see how that stacks up from there. While I agree with the comments being made, I think it's important as a council we're considering what other options we can do to get that message out and to reinforce what we hope to see the city and everyone who chooses to operate here also follow through on. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor O'Donnell speaking for.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I think they've done the wrong thing here, 100%. When you go to build something, you've got the plans, you've got the building, you've got everybody in place. Someone along the line in the company has said, hey, don't worry about that laundry, just turn it into accommodation. I'll guarantee it. A builder's not going to...
They are your words, just an FYI.
Sorry, that's just
Thank you.
My feeling, gut feeling. Done a lot of interviews over the years, I've got a gut feeling. And, but they're not the first to do this. There's people all over the place will put up a shed, do an addition to a house, carport, and not come to council to get permission. And then they put in a retrospective application when it's brought to attention. Oh no, and that. So it happens, and that. But when you've got a proper building professional like they've done, I think it's wrong. And I would like and hope that we do have discussion about this going in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Speaker against? Speaker for? The mover has the right of reply. Councillor Viskovich, not taken. Councillors, there's been no indication of dissent, is that correct? You're not voting against? Officer recommendation? Councillor Viskovich. Correct. Okay, cool. Okay, so we've had dissent indicated. Councillors, as we've had dissent indicated, those in favour of the officer recommendation as put by Councillor Viskovich. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those against? Councillor House. The vote is carried 7-1. Councillors, item 1573, 2026 calendar of events. Is there a mover for that? Councillor House to move. What's your alternative? I'll consider. Just grab your microphone, please, Councillor House.
So just not touching on the current officer recommendation, just this would be an addition to, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Investigation into public light art installation on Town Hall. So move that council allocate an initial sum of 30,000 from budget XXXX to be determined to conduct an investigation into the feasibility of lighting up public light art work projects utilising the Kalgoorlie and Boulder Town Halls as projection canvases for events such as Christmas, the race round, Anzac Day, NAIDOC Week, these types of things.
Thanks, Councillor House. I'll stop you there because that's out of the intent of the recommendation. I won't accept your amendment. However, what I will give you advice on is to bring that to a notice of motion to the next ordinary council meeting as opposed to including it in the events strategy. I think that deviates, while I can understand your link, it does deviate from what we're being asked tonight, which is to note the calendar of events. So if you're happy with that, progressing to a notice of motion at the next ordinary council meeting.
Please. Yeah, yes. Technically, you would be correct in your argument that it is not the calendar. But what I'm suggesting here, Mr. Mayor, is there's an opportunity to have a really good outcome at a very low cost and easy process. There would be no better time than to get this onto the agenda so that the process could start and foreseeably give us a couple of more weeks or months in advance. And I would hope that we would have some consideration of this item. Thanks. And we don't consider it later down the track.
Thanks, Councillor House. I won't be considering it this evening. However, I do encourage you to put it as a notice of motion for the next meeting. I understand your implications as to wanting to get it on now, but I believe that it goes away from the intent of what the original motion was, and that's what we do need to consider. Is there a officer recommendation to... Is there anyone who'd like to move the officer recommendation? Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Seconder, Councillor Johnson. Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak? Councillor Johnson, wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? No? Is there any dissent for that, councillors? The officer recommendation for 1573 is carried. 8-0. Councillors, there are no questions tonight of which due notice have been given. However, we do have one confidential item to consider. Councillors, can I get a recommendation that we move the meeting into camera, please, behind closed doors? Thank you, Councillor Della. Seconder. Councillor Viskovich. No dissent, councillors, to that? No. Thank you, Councillor Della.
Councillors, we did consider an item behind in camera tonight in confidentiality, and that item will be brought back to council in the future. The next ordinary council meeting will be in 2026 on the 19th of January. Just before I close the meeting, can I thank you, councillors, for your efforts in 2025. I feel like we've taken several strides forward. There's still a lot to take forward. We've got 2 new councillors who joined us as well. Can I also thank the previous councillors in Councillor Brownlee and Councillor Turner for their roles that they played within the organisation as elected members as well. Can I take the opportunity also to thank our staff for the work that they do. Many of it goes unnoticed within our city. Many of it does happen from time to time, just as business as usual. But throughout the year, I know we've faced a lot of curveballs. We'll continue to face those as an organisation. That is the expectation of local government. However, what we do have is we're very passionate people within our organisation. We also have people who appreciate where they live, how they get involved in the community, and how they also make a difference. That is extended to you as elected members, councillors. 2025 is a year that obviously has created a lot of interest in elections. We had 3 of them, including our local government, and 2026 is a year that I'm extremely looking forward to for delivery and to work on some of our long-term projects. Can I thank you, councillors, again. Merry Christmas to each one of you, for your families, for your loved ones, and for those who you'll be spending Christmas Day in surrounds with. Can I also get you to take the opportunity to give your family a hug? It's one that probably doesn't happen too often in the light of events of the last 24 hours. A hug just makes a hell of a lot of difference. Thank you, councillors. Merry Christmas, and I'll close the evening tonight down our meeting at 9:33.